please. It's great if we have audio, and they're just listening to us saying that we don't have.
Oh, we're back.
Okay, well, this was fun.
That's Spencer.
Do we actually have audio?
That's Billy Business. I'm told that you can hear us again.
They probably couldn't see that because we film on a potato here.
To be fair, we've only been doing this for 5+ years.
Yes. You know, guys, there's just some bugs, you know, to just keep working out.
Can we just pull back the curtain?
System.
The system in this studio is not as good as the one in the other one, and this one has so many problems.
Yes.
You guys can't see me running back and forth between the booth and the desk during this entire show.
Sometimes when we're quipping with you, Billy is literally duct taping a camera so that he can keep filming us.
And people might say, well, if the system is so difficult in this studio, why don't you go to the other studio? And the answer to that is it's being exercised, and that takes time.
Exactly. You can't just burn sage and then like move right back in.
You have to get priests, you have to send things to a Vatican. It's a whole process.
Reverse pentagrams.
You don't want
incantations.
You guys, and just to get the permits on that stuff is ridiculous. You know, speaking of incantations and burning sage, you guys, the Infinity War trailer dropped.
All right.
I don't know if that worked as a thing.
Doctor Strange, I felt it.
Yeah.
That was good.
We're people that you know watched this trailer this morning individually, reacted to it on our own, and now we're going to come together with our gathered thoughts to discuss it. What'd you guys think?
Looks cool.
Yep. Spencer?
I give it a resounding okay.
Billy?
Okay. I'll be the first to actually give an analysis on this analysis talk
Yeah,
show.
let's do it.
How about that? My initial reaction was like, very excited. Very excited.
I'm very excited the movie's coming out.
Sure, sure. Here's the thing. I will be that elitist snob prick, and I will say that
Thank you for taking that hat for me for a day.
for just one day, as I now
you just have
regret
to be
wearing
stoned.
the Stranger Things shirt that I didn't even think about.
Those are two things.
Those two things. Tell us, Hopper, what's up?
I will be that elitist guy and say, I think that you're an asshole, by the way. I just totally ruined my thought.
What did I do?
Welcome to SJU, Billy.
You gotta be on your toes. It's like American Gladiators when you're just getting hit with like giant Q-tips while you have
I got nitro and turbo over here as I'm trying to speak.
to go from
Mike
station to
Adam
station
Lee.
with the tennis balls.
We're not even to the eliminator yet. Tell us what you thought.
I think that if they had released the trailer that they had done at D23 or Comic-Con, I just felt like that trailer,
Which you saw.
which I saw at Comic-Con, I feel like that trailer had a little bit more weight. I think when we were walking out of that panel, it was like, wow, that movie's going to be dark. It was 2.5, 3 minutes of just despair. There's a couple scenes that I wish they would have put in this trailer. There's one of
Spoilers!
Is this spoilers because it's a trailer? Okay.
It is kind of.
Is it?
The public hasn't seen it
I mean,
yet.
you're technically
they
showing
read
people
it.
things that they haven't seen in a movie yet.
I mean, has anyone? Okay, fine.
So if you haven't seen
There we go.
descriptions of the
It's
Comic-Con
The Comic-Con trailer,
trailers,
but we see in this trailer, Thanos just choke slams Spider-Man to the ground, which is great. But in the Comic-Con trailer, they took it a step further, where you see Spider-Man just on his back with tears in his eyes, looking up at Tony. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry," and it's just like. That's like that moment that made me go, whoa, this movie's going to be dark, which is kind of missing from this one. This one feels a little bit more crowd friendly, I
It
guess.
was like, here's some action, and then here's a nice little Guardian buzz at the end. It was kind of...
Are we done with spoilers?
Yeah.
I guess so.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, we're done with spoilers.
Yeah,
Come
you're
back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Come on back. Come on back.
Well, yeah, this is. I read the descriptions. I'm not going to say what it is, but I read the descriptions of the D23 trailer. That's kind of what I was expecting too, and this wasn't it. But I was kind of going back in my head, and it kind of fits in the mold. It's like they, as with everything with Marvel at this point, they have kind of a system of doing things, and the first trailer is always like the darker action. This is gonna be a very serious movie trailer. And then the second trailer is the character jokey, quippy, let's get people excited about these interactions trailer. Like Ant-Man, I remember the first Ant-Man trailer, super low key, very few jokes, very dark. The first, I think the second Civil War trailer is the one that had Spider-Man in it. I'm not sure.
Right, yeah.
So it's
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. The first trailer was the
Iron Man
Pinocchio
3,
trailer.
That first trailer looked like a completely different movie.
Right. So
And then the third TV trailer just spoils the whole movie.
Right, yeah, and then 2 days before the movie comes out, they spoil everything on television, which is not fun. So yeah, this for me was like it confirmed that all of the superheroes are going to be in it. It's cool to see the superheroes. I think it was lessened a little bit for me because like when Civil War came out, like that was the first time that they had ever. The Avengers had that core group, but the Civil War is the first time they would ever like mix and match, plug and play. Here's characters from 4 different franchises, 5 different franchises, all in different teams and stuff. And it's like, wow, you're revealing Spider-Man. You're like, oh my God, like that was the first time I'm like, that looks really cool. And I have all those characters. This one is again, it's like, it's not exciting, but it's kind of like, oh, this is a different combination than I've seen before. And it's, a little bit of that shine has worn off for me as far as like, oh my God, these heroes, like I know them, I like them. I'm sure Black Panther is really obviously going to play a huge part in this movie, which is going to follow his own movie in February. So I'm excited for it. I think it looks cool, but I think as with any franchise, as Marvel has been doing them to be going for 10 years by the time this movie comes out, a little bit of that just immediate, oh my God, is kind of worn off for me.
Wears off a little.
I'm just excited, and it looks fun and looks cool.
I get that. Standout for me that I liked, actually, if you could back up to that last still. I love that we're just going to get a big land war in Wakanda. Just Black Panther and...
Never start a land war in Wakanda.
Yeah, that's one of the 3 follies. Never start a land war in Wakanda. It feels like there's a... when Marvel did their Secret Invasion event, the Black Panther part of that story, which was drawn by Jay Lee, and it looks really beautiful, was the Skrulls literally just trying to charge at Wakanda with like high-tech spears, and Black Panther just being like, and it's just a really awesome comic. So I think that's sort of an homage to that. So I'm excited about big ground battle. Outside Wakanda.
Can we go back to that shot of Black Panther? This is my favorite thing about it. I like looking in the background of shots for things. My favorite is, your eye is shown to Black Panther. I love Cap and Bucky just chilling out back there, just like, you see this shit?
Yeah. Is that Vision? Is that Vision behind him? I can't tell. There's like a weird red arm back there.
Maybe, I don't know.
But yeah, I like them back there.
I don't
just
think
like,
it is, but yeah, they're just like, all right, that doesn't look good.
That was one of my favorite parts of the trailer, was Paul Bettany complaining so much about the makeup that it took to be Vision that they're like, all right, fine.
you can just be Paul Bettany.
Yeah. It's called Michael Chiklis syndrome. It goes back to the Thing, where I'm sure he had in his contract is like,
I'm not sitting through
I
that.
can't be the Thing for the whole movie. Can you give me 15 minutes? So I don't know why he talks as the Thing all the time. But
put that still back up. He still has the stone in his head when he's doing this, right?
Maybe it's a scar, but yeah,
I can't tell, because it's like, oh, is this like your like how Loki kind of like can disguise himself?
Yeah. Well, he can shapeshift. This might be, they're making a go for it, so they've gotten, they bought one of those painted lady houses in San Francisco, and they're just really kind of actually trying to, give this a shot, and then all hell breaks loose. Is kind of what I'm thinking.
Probably.
Yeah, adopt a couple of twins.
Or maybe she's like, look, I really like you, but if you could just look a little bit more human,
you could just not be
then we could date. Yeah, I'm just like not 100% sold on the purple.
Yeah. Do we have a shot of Thanos? Because this is, I know a lot of people, I think, what did you say he looked like?
A scrotum?
Yeah, you said he looked like a scrotum. Someone tweeted us and said he looked like a red potato, which I also liked.
Oh.
My immediate thought was that our buddy Jay Washington has a brand new cosplay, because Jay works out and takes care of himself, so he posts a lot of gym pictures, and the first thing I thought of was like, Thanos is wearing one of Jay's workout hoodies.
He's got the bare arms.
Yeah, he's doing the bare arm thing. Yeah,
he looks like the old mean California raisin that probably terrorizes all the other ones.
I hope Marvel's saving all these quips we're giving him. I mean, this is like, this is Act 2.
Write these down, Feige.
I just like that he's finally gotten it all together. We've seen him talk. We've seen him put the glove on.
Which was a fake glove?
The one in Asgard.
the one
He has is real. And we've seen him kind of walk. And now I like that we are now seeing him talk, walk, and put the glove on simultaneously. Things are really coming together for Thanos.
He just has looked different in every single movie that he's appeared in. Probably because, they've had to change the design because they didn't know Josh Brolin. Right. But even since Guardians, his first appearance as Josh Brolin, I feel like he looks vastly different.
He seems to be a little paler, a little less purple, far different from the first look we had in Avengers, which is what happens with these movies when you set up something 6 years prior to when it's going to be on screen. Is like things change and there are going to be these little inconsistencies.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was just going to say design needs probably change too, because like you said, we've seen him sit. We've seen him turn. We've seen him mug to the camera. But now he's got to do all those things. He's got to do them in broad daylight. And the design needs change. He
also doesn't have his
Mario
armor
has white
on
gloves
anymore.
because you can't see his hands.
We've only seen him in that full Goldar armor. Now it's just, like, screw it, I've got the gauntlet. I don't really need protection anymore.
Yeah, he's just going to go out in his Hanes active fit and just
His
wreck
Under
Spider-Man.
Armour.
Yeah, his Under Armour and just wreck Spider-Man.
And look, I believe in the Russo's ability to do this to Thanos, to set him up and to create like a compelling villain out of him. But to people who say like Thanos has been set up and built up over all these films, like, not to me. It's like he's just another evil spaceman.
He's just been looming over.
He's looming. It's a loom.
Sure.
It's a light loom. It's not like there's been any character work done on him. I mean, we can read the comics and learn about him, but the film stuff has all been little bits around the edges.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're basically starting from scratch with him as a character outside of like the evil guy that sits in the chair.
Yeah, we don't really know much. We know a little bit of his mythology, but as far as him goes, he's pretty much glowering and threatening from a chair at this point. So you do kind of have an opportunity to really build him out as like, okay, here's who he actually is, because now we've hit the end of the road, and it's like you have to bring Thanos in. I wonder how many stops and starts there were prior to this movie where they were like, are we gonna bring Thanos in? No, not on this one. Are we gonna bring Thanos in? And then now it's just like, okay,
the universe has been threatened by so many purple aliens in the MCU at this point. Like, how are they going to push him above the others?
I think too, you have to remember there is like a personal vendetta, like Drax. Every backstory we've got about how ruthless Thanos is, we've gotten from Drax saying in the first one, or definitely Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, talking about just like how twisted he is. So I feel like they've definitely dropped hints, but if you come into Avengers Infinity War cold, which I don't know why you would at this point, but
you'd be a little lost.
I mean, it's like coming into Civil War. I feel like Civil War was kind of the first Marvel movie where they're like, we're not going to take the time to like, set this up for you. If you don't know where you are, sorry. Yeah. Like, I feel like Infinity War is probably going to be a little bit of the same. Like, look, we told you how ruthless he is in a bunch of other movies. You just got to accept it, and this is, we're starting from here, because there's so much packed into this movie. I don't know. How could they stop and do a whole thing about Thanos?
There is a lot packed into this movie, which is why, do we want to do I like the Superman screen time contest, which I still don't know who exactly won. I think we have to get a stopwatch.
I definitely lost.
Whoever said the most, which I think was Roth, right?
I'd like to go, because I think it's Price is Right rules. So we may need to actually do a stopwatch when we get a copy officially when it comes out. But do we want to? We've seen the full trailer now. Do we want to do what is a runtime? There's a lot in this movie. Let's do a blind.
48 leads.
Yeah, 48
like
leads. Obviously, many battles, much to do, and it's not a. They say it's not a part one anymore. So you have to assume they're going to tell a full story. They say it's going to be a finale. Given all that, the end of 10 years of Marvel movies. So they say, let's just blindly stab at this runtime of this movie.
Oh,
maybe one of us will look like a genius.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 2.5 hours.
I'm gonna say
I need an exact number, Joe.
Okay, I'm going to
with credits, right? And all after credits.
All credits, after credits, tags, everything.
I'm gonna say 2 hours and 42 minutes.
2 hours and 42 minutes. That would be
2:46.
100. I was told there'd be no math. 140. Wait, 2 hours. 162 minutes. Billy says 162.
I'm saying 166.
I'm saying
Spencer says 166.
I'm saying 2 hours and 42 minutes.
That's
exactly what Billy said.
Oh, okay, I'm saying you took my lucky number. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna up it a little more.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna go 254.
254. Wow. So that would be 174 minutes.
Yeah.
Your lucky number is 162.
No, 42. 42 is my lucky number. I just like sneaking 42 into things.
I'm gonna price
142 if I have to pick number 1 through 10.
I'm gonna Price is Right you. I'm not gonna say 1 minute, but I'm gonna say 159 minutes. Okay. So I'm gonna go lowest. All right, there you go. That was a fun game.
Lock it.
And we won't know for 6 months.
And we have no stakes, so we don't know what the winner gets.
Bragging rights.
All right, fine.
Hey guys, JTE movie things pose on the Infinity War trailer, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
All right, guys. Disney has cast their Mulan. This was requested by ScreenJunkies' own Devin Coulson. How you doing, Devin?
Hi, Devin. What's up, Devin?
Hollywood Reporter has learned that Chinese actress Crystal Liu has been cast as the hero in the upcoming live-action adaptation of their 1998 animated classic, Mulan. Her casting came after an extensive worldwide search. It spanned 5 continents. There were thousands of people up for this role. Something that stood out to me was like, how many requirements were on this role. Like, I guess you probably have to sing if there's going to be songs. You have to speak English. You have to.
You don't have to. You can't sing.
Yeah, you have to have intangible star quality. You've got to have credible martial arts skills. Like, you have to be able to act.
What a weird thing to put on the call sheet. Like,
intangible star quality.
You just don't have the unnamed thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid.
I like it, but she doesn't have it. What?
Nico Caro is helming the feature. She did The Zookeeper's Wife. The dude that wrote Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Jurassic World wrote the script.
Well, they adapted the other Mulan.
Yeah,
that's true.
Scoops McGee's favorite actress, Ming Na, from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was voiced the original Mulan. There was also, if you haven't seen it, in 2009, Mulan: Rise of a Warrior, starring Ling Wei Zhao. It was directed by the guy who did the cinematography for Police Story and Drunken Master. It's like this big epic sort of war version of Mulan. It's great. You should find it. So she's not a household name in the States. She's very beloved back in her home country. She's in Once Upon a Time, The Forbidden Kingdom with Jackie Chan and Jet Li and The Assassins. So this is cool. They found their Mulan. They pulled it off.
Yeah.
I'm still so on the fence about these Disney live action movies.
Me
I
too.
was singing their praises after Jungle Book. I was a huge fan of Jungle Book because I think that the cartoon of Jungle Book is like watching paint dry. Like, it is one of the most boring ones ever, and they made something out of it. And then Beauty and the Beast just didn't do it for me, which is weird because it's like, I like that movie.
Well, that's the thing, is what you just said. Jungle Book was not a perfect film.
Sure.
It was a little episodic and a little just kind of like plotting, and they made a cohesive story out of it with like character growth and a beginning and a middle and an end that it was kind of lacking before. Beauty and the Beast was fine. Lion King's perfect.
Yeah.
Mulan's super good. Like, what are you adding to it by doing this aside from $1 billion?
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, but they're diverging from this thing of like the first few, and it wasn't just Jungle Book, like Cinderella, kind of, that's a very simple cartoon. It's a very plain cartoon. We did the honest trailer. It's like, 60 minutes long. Half of it's a cat chasing about. There's a lot of room to grow in there, and they did that, and it was well received, and it made a lot of money. And then Maleficent, I think the movie was a mixed bag for me, but I think it struck because you take Sleeping Beauty, but you kind of tell it from a different point of view. You had a great casting with Angelina Jolie. It was a fresh take on that story. I love the first half a lot better than I like the second half, but it made a lot of money. People responded to it. Jungle Book, again, kind of a spare. I'm with you, Billy. The cartoon's, it's a bit dry for me. Yeah. Take it, put technology and make a great movie, and I hate that they are going from that method of let's take our stories that maybe has a little bit to be desired, or at least room to grow, and make these movies. And now it's like, let's take the movies that everyone loves and just remake them. Because I'm with you, Spencer. Like, there's nothing wrong with those, with the original Mulan, with the original Lion King, with the original, nothing wrong whatsoever. So I hate this idea of like, instead of taking things with room to grow, they're going more toward like, let's just reenact
Here's the
movies
thing.
that everyone already
To me,
loves.
Lion King will be the real bellwether to see what change they make aside from the style.
Yeah.
I can't imagine changes to that movie that will make it better, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like unless The Lion King has some really cool different changes, like new songs, new music, I really think you could have gotten this cast together and just done a neat thing like as a special on ABC where they all sing the songs and, sort of lightly reenact, some of the scenes, and people would have lost their minds just as much and would have saved Disney a lot of money. So it's got to
But
be
they'd be
different.
leaving a lot of money on the table too if they
Probably.
did that. I mean, I don't know like the source story or material for Mulan. So is there stuff that like they could essentially like retool it or put it out a little? Because I feel like Jungle Book was a little bit more towards the actual books than it was the Disney cartoon.
But it's the no-win scenario of that I thought you had with Beauty and the Beast, which is you have a beloved source material, so the more that you diverge from that source material, the more fans of the original are going to kind of push back. But on the other hand, the more that you are slavishly faithful to the original, the more people like maybe skew more towards us, just saying like, but I already like this. Why are you just redo it? So I just think you're really painting yourself into a corner. Having said that, Beauty and the Beast made $1 billion, and I'm an idiot. So that's the counterpoint.
Sure. I just want them to,
fair.
like, if you're going to do one like, and I know they won't because it's not like the big marquee, but Black Cauldron, do Sword in the Stones,
The Black Hole.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the Black
I know
Hole.
that they
God.
tried to do Pete's Dragon, and that was a great movie.
It was a really good movie that
it
nobody
just didn't-
saw.
Yeah, no one saw
no
it,
one
which was
cared, yeah.
weird because the big Disney movie, you would think.
I'm a big fan of the original Pete's Dragon, and I don't like them straying from those three adults abusing and eating an orphan boy for 90 minutes, and he, through trauma, invents a dragon that sometimes appears.
Oh, that is quite a movie.
Yeah, they really got away from that.
I had forgotten everything about it until we had to watch it for the Honest trailer, and the first
Which
scene
never
is
came
literally
out, by the
came
way.
out.
Oh God! Did we never release
That's one
that?
that we buried that deep in the vault.
That's in the
Yeah.
vault. Okay, yeah. The first shot of that movie is just a kid riding nothing, and he's just like, "Let's go, Pete." And you're like, "What?" It's fantastic. What I like here is they have an opportunity to make a new Starr. You know, if Mulan's great, then that's awesome. This opens up so many opportunities for this actress to go on to even bigger and cooler things. I appreciate.
I feel like being a star in China, it's like a step down to be a star here now.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. It's
She
like,
probably has 7 billion fans, and like she's just like, this is her indie, is like
Yeah.
to do an American movie.
yeah, well, it's like, you know, look at a dude like Donnie Yen, who's like a legend over there, and here he's done Rogue One and Blade 2.
Those are two awesome
awesome
He was the
movies.
best part of Rogue One, and
died off camera in Blade
I will
2.
defend Blade 2 to the death.
Oh, I will too, but like just compare the bodies of work, like everything he's accomplished, and then every now and then Hollywood's like, hey, you want to die off camera next to Wesley Snipes? Come on over, kid. You just don't have it.
But the great thing about Disney that I do like about, you know, them doing Mulan and Coco and Moana is that they're starting to see like, hey, there are people who are not represented on screen. If we bring them to the screen, people want to see that. And I feel like this is like casting a Chinese actress and not doing something shady, which we've seen other movies do. And, you know, Hellboy had to kind of recast because of it. I think this is a good step, and Disney's finally, you know, they're being one of the first to be like, oh, representation. People want to see that now, you know?
Well, I mean,
agree with
Emma
that,
Stone
yeah.
and Scarlett Johansson passed, so this is
Yeah, I mean, you're running out of options.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they learned a lesson with Coco and don't attach a Josh Gad short in front of Mulan in case they're like, we gotta trick people into seeing the Chinese story. Like, people want to see cool movies, and I think that's kind of it.
That's been a massive. I was reading about that yesterday. Like they took it off the movie in Mexico, and then I've been reading here. People are just like, "What do you stop it? I want to see Coco."
Let's see the movie. Oh man, you want to know what else people?
Coco.
You know what else people wanted to see? I guess that was removed from the film. Armie Hammer's balls, you guys.
That deserves a segue graphic.
Armie Hammer's balls. No, I am but a student in Roth's classroom.
I love the lower third, by the way.
Armie Hammer's balls.
If
If you're just joining us,
his balls are fine.
He's okay. He's fine. Don't
To
worry.
be fair, I helped him come up with the lower third, but nothing else would fit in that lower
Yeah.
third because it was gonna be like CGI. I was like, screw it. If people just tune
Well,
in,
yeah, that'd
maybe
be
they'll
great.
be like, what happened? Was there an accident?
well, Well, BuzzFeed certainly tried to remove his balls. But what we're talking about right now is the film Call Me By Your Name, which if you haven't seen, see. It's
so good.
It's great.
Is it out right now?
It's in LA, New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's expanding. It's one of the best.
Road
movies.
trip.
It's one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah,
Go see it.
I'm sure it'll expand with like some Oscar push and stuff like that. But he wears some very short shorts in the movie. So short, in fact, that they had to pull a lower Henry Cavill.
Wait,
and
those are the shorts?
No,
his balls came out of those?
They get
He wears
shorter.
even
those are
shorter
probably
shorts.
the longest shorts he wears in the entire movie.
Those are very conservative shorts.
Those are not to scale shorts.
Those are his volleyball shorts, literally in the movie. He also does a lot of lying down and lounging by a pool during a movie. So that is not representative of either his physicality or the length of his shorts throughout. Call Me By Your
So
Name.
Armie Hammer said in an interview there were a few times when they had to go back and digitally remove my balls from the movie. They were short shorts. What are you going to do?
To the point.
Props to the matter of factness.
But why was he freeballing?
Well, because he's in character, it's method, and maybe the character just doesn't wear chonies.
It does take place in Europe, so they are
Okay.
a little more liberal.
And in the 80s,
and in the 80s, a little
so-
more, and in the summer. So I guess I could see
Yeah.
why, as a character
What a
choice, you would
weird
choose.
job.
Sun's out, balls out.
Yeah.
I
I
get
just
that.
spend all day going frame by frame, painting out Armie Hammer. Like, how do you go to a job interview? You're like, okay, so what have you done? I did some work on Infinity War. I did a lot of the Thanos work. I did some ball removal for comic. Like, what a weird job that is.
We should ask Adam Lavitt, because I know he's done visual effects work. Like, I would like to know an insider's perspective on
doing that?
the process, the art behind it, because I've worked on TV shows before, like in the post process, and I know you know different passes. Like you do obviously a picture cut, and then you get the picture locked up, and then sometimes you do like a retouch pass if some of the actors have a blemish or something. You can go through and you spot. It's called spotting. You spot that. You're like, oh, let's touch that up. Let's touch that up. So at some point in the production of this Oscar caliber, sure to be nominated for multiple Academy Awards film, that there was a post-production pass that was dedicated exclusively somewhere on the post schedule to Armie Hammer's testicles. Where can we see them? How long? And
Will this be on the
somebody
Blu-ray, the
also had
special
to do
feature?
that for it's maybe they got the same guy that did Watchmen, who had to do the sway of Billy Crudup's penis as Dr. Manhattan.
What I like to think is that like there's a post guy named Gary, and he was late for work one day, and he comes in and he's like, "Oh, sorry guys, what are we working on?" And his buddy's like, "Oh, I'm taking Henry Cavill's mustache off his face," and he's like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "Oh no, you were late. You're on balls."
Hey Gary, we have a really important job for you. Oh man, it's a very special, it's
Oscar film.
you're really gonna love it. It's a total prestige movie. Just go in there. Just don't worry about it. It's fine.
Some other bloopers that have sort of had to be digitally removed that might not be a ball or stash level.
I mean, some of these are just accidents or mistakes, not necessarily CGI, but just big, costly mistakes.
Like Daniel Craig in Skyfall had a fingerprint activated gun, and then they realized that there was a big action sequence where he had gloves on, so they had to take the gloves off of his hands. That's a whole lot of
Wow.
Why wouldn't you just take out the one or two lines where they're like, this is a voice activated or a fingerprint
it's James
activated
Bond.
gun?
It's all about the gadgets.
he's got to
I
have
just
the
feel
gadgets.
like
And
what
I think,
waste
if
of-
I recall, I think in Skyfall that actually came into play. The fact that
I don't remember that.
Why don't they
very good
cut
at all.
out their workload and give them like sweet fishnet or fingerless gloves?
Right? Yeah, just biker gloves.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah.
He's all of a sudden wearing half-fingered like denim gloves.
So I'm very into that. Hateful Eight, Kurt Russell destroyed a $40,000 guitar that was on loan to the production from a museum. The take is in the film. You can see Jennifer Jason Leigh's surprised reaction.
Wouldn't you hate to be the PA
sucks.
that has to like go tell like Kurt Russell like, hey, you weren't supposed to do that?
Well, or
no
the PA that
PAs
gave him the
Dr.
wrong
Kurt
guitar in the first place.
they were supposed to stop and switch it out, right?
Yeah.
And he just kept going.
Yeah. That's a very Quentin Tarantino thing to do, to just have a $40,000 guitar in your movie for no reason.
Would anyone have known if it was just like the prop the entire time?
Well, I assume it's $40,000 because it's super old.
Yeah,
right,
it's like
yeah.
one of a kind.
Like it's an Old West guitar.
Right. On loan from a museum.
Yeah, super necessary to have in the
not a
movie.
guitar.
completely different from a guitar. It's a guitar.
It's a guitar. Do you think they just sent the museum like another guitar, and we're like, maybe they won't notice.
Yeah,
Try to
like
pass off the prop.
Yeah, like that company in Texas that's like, we'll clone your dog for $40,000. I think the Weekend Update joke was just, they send you another golden retriever.
Not the same as old champs. I can tell.
I can tell. This ain't my dog or my guitar. Edward James Olmos also just, what is with these actors and just destroying expensive things? He destroyed a model ship on loan from a museum. Indiana Jones needs to handle these people. It was worth over $200,000.
Oh,
This was for one episode of Battlestar Galactica. Like, not even like a
that
huge budget movie.
Yeah. Ooh.
One episode of a show, he just breaks this $200,000 ship.
That's
Oh, to be
Oh,
fair, that was a pretty boss episode. It totally did have dramatic stakes, but it was kind of worth it because it was a great moment. It was a great Admiral Adama moment when he broke the ship.
I hope they have insurance. Like that. Does that come out of Olmos's paycheck?
No, that came
Yeah,
out
I
of the Exo's paycheck. This guy. That guy.
It came out of Gary's check. Chris Nolan breaking IMAX cameras left and right. He broke a IMAX camera during the Joker chase scene in The Dark Knight. One of Anne Hathaway's stunt doubles crashed the bat pod into an IMAX camera during Dark Knight Rises.
Those things are cheap.
No, and for a guy that loves the format so much, I mean, just wrecking those cameras.
Well, let's not forget he shot one into a black hole.
Yeah.
And who knows where that is?
Well, the footage was recovered.
It was floating near Saturn, and it was almost out of film until
Rangers got
random
it.
Rangers came and retrieved it. And, I don't want to open up that can of worms. But yeah, so he's...
Nolan would have never removed the balls. I think we can all agree. He would have left.
Yeah.
Nolan would have left the balls, and it would have
Yeah.
been shot in IMAX, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
much
balls.
more...
Yeah.
CGI is ruining movies and
Yeah, well,
testicles.
Chris Nolan would be like, I don't want this. You don't want to experience these balls on Netflix on your phone. Like, they're meant for like a big, massive
70
They're
experience.
only meant to be seen in 70 millimeter.
And then, of course, you know, there's the Henry Cavill
Superman's baby
mustache
mouth,
gate
yeah.
with the baby mouth.
The
Still
baby
Paramount. Oh man, you guys, that was baller.
Do you think, in retrospect, I mean, having seen the results, that Warner Brothers wished that they would have just waited? Because it is distracting. I loved Henry Cavill's Superman in that movie. Like, I loved this. It felt like he was finally like able to be like Superman. But do you think that, in retrospect, Warner Brothers, like 6 weeks after they pulled the trigger on that, was like, we've made a huge mistake.
I immediately regret this
this
decision.
decision.
I'm sure if they had any other choice,
Yeah.
they would have.
You know, hindsight's funny because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter after the Avengers trailer dropped that are just like losing their minds over Captain America's cool beard. And it's like, yeah, just give the dude a mustache. Just people would have been like, rad. Way to go, Superman.
If Superman had just grown out. Well,
Yeah.
when he comes back to life in the comic books, he's got the long hair
mullet,
and the big,
sweet mullet,
the
yeah.
big beard.
You got an excuse for facial hair.
Yeah,
It
they
would be
could've-
weird if he just had a manicured mustache.
You don't know how facial
Those
hair grows on
Kryptonian
Krypton.
pods, we don't understand the science behind
Yeah.
their life-giving abilities, so
just
it's
gave-
possible.
On Krypton, this mustache means hope.
It just gave him a full tombstone. Well, I don't know, man. As long as he's saving people. I feel good about the show. I don't feel like anything has to be digitally removed from it.
Yeah, except we need to go back and overdub the first 2 minutes.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Poorly.
Yeah. I already forgot about that. That feels like several days ago.
Yeah.
Billy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Spencer, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Dan,
Pleasure as always.
I'll see you guys in 30 seconds down the hall. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow
Sorry,
in this
Roth.
very general area.